Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Two killed in Spanish Town shooting. Two people were shot and killed during a gun attack along Railway Lane in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Wednesday afternoon. The police say about 2 p.m., explosions were heard along the roadway and the driver of a motor vehicle and a female passenger were shot. The man reportedly died on the spot, while the woman was rushed to hospital where she was pronounced dead. A third person was reportedly injured in the incident, but their condition is not known at this time. Police mourn death of woman corporal. The Jamaica Police Federation is mourning the death of another member. Detective Corporal Simon Nemard of the Sissoka Westmoreland Division died in hospital on Wednesday morning after a period of illness. In a message to its members, the Police Federation expressed sadness at Nemard's passing. "It is a very sad time for us as we mourn and share condolences with the management and staff of the Westmoreland Division," the Federation said. Nemard's passing comes just 4 days after the death of Inspector Desmond Roach, a former General Secretary of the Police Federation, who was assigned to the Video Identification Unit. Reporters understand that Roach fell ill while at home in St. Catherine and was rushed to hospital where he later died. Update on alleged goat thieves killed by police. Police have identified the two men who were killed following an alleged confrontation during a high-speed drill and shootout in Kingsland Meadows, close to Spur Tree in Manchester on Tuesday afternoon. They are Dwayne Baker and Cameron Whitter. Whitter is said to be from Knockpatrick in the parish, while Baker is said to be from Kingsland. They are among 4 men accused of stealing 6 goats in Magatti St. Elizabeth on Tuesday. A senior police source told reporters that the men are suspected to have been involved in multiple cases of predatory larceny in Manchester and St. Elizabeth. The police source said the men were spotted about 3 p.m. on Tuesday in Lacova, St. Elizabeth. The Manchester police were alerted and given a description of a black Toyota Viz motor car being used to transport the stolen goods from Magatti. The police in response mounted a roadblock on the Spur Tree Hill main road. The source said the vehicle was spotted and the driver was signaled to stop by the police. However, the driver reportedly sped off while an occupant of the vehicle opened fire at the police. A high-speed chase and shootout ensued. The driver turned into Kingsland Meadows, where the vehicle was cornered by the police on Queensway Close. 3 of the men were shot while another escaped in bushes. The 3 injured men were taken to hospital, where Whitter and Baker were pronounced dead. The third man was admitted for treatment on the police guard. The source said during a search of the vehicle, a firearm was seized and the stolen goods found. A joint police-military team was deployed to search the area for the suspect who escaped. Another attack. The evasive action of a Burlham crew, which reportedly came under attack by gunmen in the hills of St. Elizabeth on Wednesday, thwarted a robbery attempt, the third reported ambush by criminals on the armed courier company since February. Senior Superintendent of Police Stephanie Lindsay told reporters that the latest incident happened shortly after 1 p.m. when gunmen attacked a Burlham crew. "We just understand that they were in the area when their vehicle was attacked by men traveling in a car. We understand that the content was not impacted and none of the cars were injured," she said. Reporters were told that the gunmen attempted to stop the vehicle before opening fire on the unit, damaging it. The cars reportedly sped off and sought assistance from the Silo police. Silo, a northern St. Elizabeth community, is located over 5 miles from Bogue Hill, close to Balaclava, where the attack reportedly took place. SSP Lindsay pointed to ongoing consultations between the police and members of the security sector following recent attacks. "There is always a dialogue to be had and the appeal to persons that once you are handling cash, then you have to be extra careful because we realize the criminals are basically after cash. We have been having the discussions and the dialogues with the relevant groups and individuals, so we expect that they are doing what is necessary to harden the target around cash," she said. When asked about the police response to the attack in deep rural Jamaica, SSP Lindsay said resources will be deployed where necessary. "Once we do the assessment and we realize that something needs to be priority, then we put the resources there. So we see where, in recent times, we have seen the attacks on that sector. We have been having dialogues with the players in the industry, and we have been playing our part to ensure that we support them, so it is always that we respond wherever there is a need for police services," she said. Residents in the area told reporters that the incident came as a great shock to them. This latest attack on Burlham follows last month's multi-million-dollar heist in Portmore, St. Catherine, in which 4 security guards were injured. The police said on Tuesday that 6 people were in custody for that attack. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson, in addressing a digital press conference on Tuesday, said the constabulary is moving to clamp down on the space of attacks that have been launched on cash-heavy resources such as ATMs and courier services in recent months. 2 men charged with 18-year-old Hanover woman's death. Detectives have charged the 2 men who were taken into custody last Friday with the murder of 18-year-old Tricia Hall, whose decomposing body was found in Marchtown, Green Island in Hanover. Charged are 23-year-old Romaine Vassar, otherwise called Twin, and 21-year-old Antonia Saman, otherwise called Brown Man, both of Marchtown addresses. Police launched an investigation into Hall's disappearance after she was reported missing since Saturday, March 25th. On March 31, lawmen were reported acting on information went to a cane field in the community where they found Hall's decomposing body. Vassar and Saman were subsequently arrested and interviewed by the police. Investigators have reported that they are awaiting the post-mortem result to determine the cause of Hall's death. St. Mary dies after falling from Ackee tree. A man who is believed to be mentally challenged died after falling from an Ackee tree in St. Mary on Tuesday. According to residents, 57-year-old Errol Williams from Fonterra in the parish lost his balance while picking ackee from a tree located in the remote area of his community. Reporters understand that his body was discovered by a passerby who raised an alarm. The Port Mary police were called and Williams was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The police say they do not suspect foul play. Williams is well known for picking ackees in the community. Security guard convicted of rape loses appeal. A security guard who was convicted for the 2015 rape of a 21-year-old woman while on duty in Phoenix Vista, St. Catherine loses appeal of his 18-year sentence last Friday. The man, who was in May 2018 sentenced with the stipulation that he served 12 years before being eligible for parole, filed an appeal a month later. That application was, however, refused. In a subsequent appeal filed in 2021, the convicted man argued, among other things, that the jury had been misdirected by the judge and that the sentence was manifestly excessive. The court, in dismissing the appeal, said in its view, no pressure was exerted on the judge to return an unanimous verdict, and as such, there was no misdirection by the learned judge. It, however, said there was merit in the argument regarding the sentence, given missteps by the trial judge who did no mathematical computation to take account of the mitigating and aggravating factors, and her treatment of the convicted man's lack of remorse as an agitated factor. According to the appeal court, the applicant was entitled to maintain his innocence. It is to be noted that it has been stated by this court that caution should be exercised when treating with the absence of remorse as an agitating factor, it said further. The court said in light of those missteps by the learned judge, it was due to Bond to consider the issue of sentence afresh. But even after doing so, the appeal court resolved that the sentence imposed was not manifestly excessive and as such ought not to be disturbed. We therefore make the following orders. The application for permission to appeal conviction is refused. The appeal against sentence is dismissed and the sentence 18 years imprisonment with the stipulation that the applicant serve a period of 12 years before being eligible for parole imposed on May 25, 2018 is affirmed. The sentence is reckoned to have commenced on the 25th of May 2018, the date when it was imposed, the appeal court ordered. According to the evidence of the then 21-year-old woman in question in 2015, she had accompanied another female to a house in the community. While on the way, they met the convicted man and his work colleague who were traveling in a marked security vehicle. She said the incident happened during an interaction between herself and the later convicted man, who was employed to a private security company after he and his colleague assisted them to transport some items. According to the complainant, the man forced himself on her after she refused to kiss him following a prolonged conversation in the company vehicle. She managed to get away from him by telling him she wanted to urinate before running to hide in a churchyard. The matter was subsequently reported to the police. But the convicted man, who is married, said while he had kissed the woman, she did not protest. He, however, denied raping her. The work colleague of the convicted man, who was one of the witnesses called, however, told the court that when he asked him if he had engaged in sexual activity with the young woman, his quashed response indicated that he had. The appeal court it is finding on Friday said the elements required to prove rape were present, then that it was open to the jury to convict the applicant of that offense if they accepted the complainant's evidence. In the meantime, in noting that the convicted man had been a security guard, the court said in light of his occupation, the violation of the complainant should not have been on his radar at all.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification